All right, we're streaming. We're going to give some folks a chance to hop on here, and I'm going to do some sharing from my Facebook page. I've decided to stream only to my main page. That way, I get more um, content just going to one spot instead of three other pages. All right, I see that. Took a second, just one moment here while I get all this figured out. Tornado threat has increased. We were maybe hoping it wouldn't, um, but it is actually increasing ahead of a second line of storms. We had one line come through today, and now we've got another one coming through right now out of West Virginia. That's going to tap some high wind shear that's over the area and really bring in some damaging wind, I think, to the ground in terms of straight line wind, some flash flooding as well, and just a good bit of hail, high wind, lightning, all of that in our forecast. So pretty hairy few hours here. I was hoping it wouldn't be like this. The the thinking was that we might be able to uh, get the first area this morning to take out some of that energy. But the way it came in, the way it scoured out, you saw the wind just pick up out there, and the Storm Prediction Center issuing the severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the area. I think that's through 11 o'clock. Definitely something that we saw the potential for and that will continue to kind of ramp up. So this is an overall look at what's going on. You can see the one cluster of storms from this morning going through Wytheville, through Smith County, and the far southwest Virginia. A lot of lightning with those. Then it fell apart later this morning, and now for the afternoon, all the attention is up here across West Virginia. We've got this second line of storms that's coming out of the Charleston Beckley area nearing the Bluefield vicinity. That's going to come in and also kind of give us a flash flood threat, especially here in the far southwest Virginia, where there are four reports of roads washed out. Lee Highway, Nix Creek Road, flash flooding there in the Wythe County, right there in that one little spot. And we can look at that in detail in just a second. But this area that you have these flash flood warnings in effect cannot take any more rain. These warnings are in effect until 5:30. They will likely be expanded as this next area of storms comes on in. So you can see all the lightning with those. We're going to put some city labels up here for you. It's going to make the screen a little busy, but I do want to make sure everybody sees their area. So one cell right now around Hillsville in eastern Carroll County, that's in an area where we do have enhanced shear. We've got a very strong jet stream in place. Near Bradshaw, north of Richlands, we've got more. Floyd and Radford, yes, I'll hit on that. Got a little bit of activity already popping up there in Pulaski County. A lot of this stuff is going to pop up out of thin air. So I can sit here and I've got a cat across my keyboard, so give me one second. I can show you which way the storms are moving, but what I gather from watching TikTok videos a lot, people don't understand that storms also, they not only move, yeah, they move, but they also develop out of thin air. That's their nature. They're de- they're designed to do that. So this second line here going from Paintsville, West Liberty into West Virginia over the state line is going to impact us through Big Stone Gap, also going into Richland, Saltville, the same areas that got hit earlier today. and Lewisburg, West Virginia, up into the Allegheny Highlands in this next area. In fact, there are two areas of purple where the Storm Prediction Center says, hey, the wind shear is high. We're probably going to have at least some rotation and some form of damaging straight line winds for those areas. So you can see the trend. The first line of storms moving through, the second line coming in, and it's coming in right at the heating of the day. I want to show you why that's happening. And what we'll do here is I'll put the temperatures on, and we'll also overlay some of these temperatures about 5,000 to 10,000 feet up. We'll get rid of some of these town names. And just kind of explain things away here. So all the storms are occurring. Notice where we've got the cooler air up to the northeast, and the hot air has been building in from the southwest. Hasn't quite got in here yet, but it's here. It's moving in. So your storms develop right on the boundary between that warm and that cool air. So relatively speaking, this is a pretty impressive dip in the jet stream across the Great Lakes. We're seeing 60s and 70s for afternoon temperatures here. That's because the jet stream is definitely dipping, and it's rotating right in from the northwest. So anytime you get the cool air up here, you get the heat down here. The area is in a northwesterly flow, which normally can dry us out, but this is a summer pattern. Embedded within that, we've got the colder air aloft. So when we overlay the winds at about 500 millibars here, you see quite a bit of wind coming in with the jet stream. So that's the jet stream there. It's intersecting the hot air, and it's intersecting the cooler air up to the north, and in behind it we've got a lot of shear. Just to show you the shear, we'll get rid of the temperatures here. Just want to show you the winds, how they're changing. And we really are dealing with a lot of wind shear. So this is the wind at about 5,000 feet. You can see it's coming in out of the southwest. Okay, and it's actually increasing there where you see the orange. So we've got southwesterly winds just off the ground. On the ground, we've actually got wind coming in more out of the south. Let's see if my model picks that up. See there, it's not very strong, but we do have wind more out of the south-southwest. So as you go up in the atmosphere, the wind really turns and it increases. So much so that by the time you get up to 18,000 feet, you've got wind out of the northwest. I'm moving all around here. Let me do this again. So there's your wind close to the surface. Higher up, it's out of the southwest. Higher up, it's out of the northwest. And you can actually go all the way up to the actual jet stream level and see this is some powerful jet stream energy. So one of the biggest problems we're seeing, we've been seeing this actually most of the summer, has been the fact that these dips that are coming out of the Great Lakes are really strong for this time of the year, and it's interacting with that hot air because of the sun angle, and giving us all this severe weather. So we'll continue to watch these storms as they continue to march further south. We're going to see a lot of warnings issued here very soon. I've been watching the rotation too. This is a 1 hour look at rotation. We did have some pretty impressive rotation coming out of Tazewell County. Our Barron technology picked up on that quite a bit, moved through Sparta and moved into North Carolina where it weakened. These remnant clouds are now down across Winston-Salem and parts of the Piedmont Triad of North Carolina. The shaded areas, that's where we're seeing a combination of storm helicity. So this is the environment that's favored for tornadoes is right here. It's one of several parameters that I'm using. But I can get rid of that too because I've got a lot of ways to look at kind of the same stuff here. So we'll get rid of that. You can see the yellow areas are where we have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect. We'll loop this again. Notice up here from Ashland to Charleston and the Beckley, this is our second line of storms, and this one's just eating away at these 80-degree temperatures. It's not all that warm down through here where we had that rain earlier today, but it's warm enough because we've got dew points still around 70. There's still sufficient moisture from all this rain that we've had, upwards of about 2.5 to 3 inches of rain there in the purple. That was that tornadic cell that moved through earlier today, and it blanketed the rest of the area with about a third of an inch to a half of an inch of rain. And of course, more on top of that, with winds there again turning with height from the west, from the southwest up to the northwest. As you are updraft, tapping that, you're going to start to spin, no doubt about that. So putting on the composite reflectivity here and letting that load, you can see lots of activity, severe activity. Numerous warnings, and those triangles are indicative of hail. We've got one warning now out for Lewisburg, West Virginia, going into Allegheny County, into parts of West Virginia. Another one south of Oak Hill, and maybe another one soon there around the War area. This is the broad look at everything. The one in Lewisburg, let's see about rotation here. Does have some rotation earlier upstream over the past 60 minutes there, right near Highway 64. And again, some very high cloud tops there showing up, and another strong area of rotation West Liberty into Salyersville into West Virginia, and another cell off to the south of that. So this will move into an area, if we look at the amount of CAPE, that's actual potential energy with the storm. You can see that we have low levels around Danville, but as you make your way west into the mountains, the atmosphere is primed once again. So yeah, the rain did diminish a little bit for Southside, the threat of severe weather. However, it's recuperating really fast, and that's courtesy of all of these dew points, which continue to go up and will continue to probably rise here for the next couple of hours ahead of this next feed of moisture. This is the dew point up at about 5,000 feet. So the winds are coming in like this, bringing in those high dew points, while the jet stream's coming down from the north. We'll send that back to rotation. And the severe thunderstorm watch, by the way, let's make sure that's in effect till 11. Yeah, till 8 o'clock, I'm sorry. Looking at up to 70-mile-per-hour winds. Normally, they're issued for 60-mile-per-hour winds, so this one's a little more serious than your standard watch. In the wording there, they've got mentioned an isolated large hail events up to 1 inch. There's dry air aloft coming in with this big dip in the jet stream, and 1-inch diameter hail and a tornado or two possible. So not just the isolated tornado threat there. We're looking at perhaps one or two tornadoes, which for us, if you look at that on a grand scale of total potential, there is pretty high. This is the actual significant tornado parameter right now. And let me put the radar up to give you an idea. So we've got a significant tornado parameter pretty high here. Where's my sampling? My cursor's gonna erase it there. I've got a scale off to the side. We're up at around 2 to 3 in this orange area here. And that's right across the Roanoke Valley to Lynchburg area. So all of the area, that's why the Storm Prediction Center went ahead with that high risk or higher risk of tornadoes for just about the entire area today. You could argue that that should be a tornado watch, but either way, you need to take it very seriously into the rest of the day. We'll put this in motion. Again, I like putting things in motion because it kind of shows us what's happening. You can see the second line now getting organized. It's going to take a second to load here. About a 2 or 3 hour loop. Repeated training rain, that's a concern because these clusters can sometimes connect. That's what brought the 2016 flooding to West Virginia, and that's going on right now. Numerous areas of high water already, and now we're starting to see these lines of storms or this one line start to kink in many locations, and that's a sign that it's got some rotation with it as it continues to move closer to the Virginia state line out of West Virginia, and the amount of significant tornado parameter readings are going up. This is the supercell parameter, and just issued, we do have a tornado warning in effect right now, as we do see that rotation. I mentioned it was going to happen south of Lewisburg, including the Lewisburg area. So let's go right to it. We'll get our city names popped up here on some of our other software. So when that warning comes out there, we'll be ready for it. All right, but let's go to our Barron. Breezy today, where it did warm up. I wanted to start out showing you temperatures have rebounded again back into the 80s, and warm southwesterly winds, mid 70s to mid 80s. That's why we are seeing these storms turning so severe. So the pink area is the severe thunderstorm watch. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that and show you that we do have the tornado warning. It's blinking there in red. This is all the lightning with it in purple. The purple is cloud to cloud lightning. The yellow is cloud to ground lightning. And if we see a white, that's a positive strike that occurs when you see lightning out at the top of a cloud. It sometimes can give you a higher concentration, a lightning jump, and that's sometimes indicative of a tornadic system developing or tornadic storm developing. Isolating this a little bit more. You'll pardon the scanners in the background here. Daisy's concerned. So this is for Lewisburg, and we'll put a track on this. Out of a scale of 10, we've got a tornado index of 3.2. And normally when I do severe weather here and we get these warnings, honestly, a lot of times the Barron stuff just doesn't pick it up because it's not as obvious. But it's occurring here, and we do have a few communities there on the right side of your screen: North Caldwell, Oregon Cave, Caldwell, Dixon, Glaze, Tuckahoe. If it holds together between 3 and 3:15, moving a bit to the right is also a threat. So I'd watch the Union area. These storms, as they ramp up and the amount of spin that they contain, they'll begin to move south of the mean wind, the average wind. So we've got that one tornado warning in effect. We've also got flash flooding, and again, a new area of rotation just north of War in West Virginia. We may get a warning on this pretty soon. Our ThreatNet technology picking up on a 3.7 out of 10 tornadic threat there in West Virginia, and then a third cell in Oak Hill that's also headed into the Union area by 4:10. So a lot coming out of West Virginia. This is no surprise. Just to give you an early heads up, you folks in Botetourt County, Roanoke County, Craig County, Allegheny County, you'll want to watch this very carefully, because if it continues on that path, it's going to get very close to the Roanoke Valley area and the vicinity to the north and to the west of Roanoke. This is a look at a 5-minute updated model from MIT that looks at the growth and decay and the overall movement of our cells. So that's the tornadic storm in the Lewisburg right now on Interstate 64. We can advance this, and this updates every 5 minutes. But on this path, it would be moving into maybe Allegheny County and 311 by around 314, possibly in the Craig County as well, and watch out around Botetourt County by 4:30. This is something you won't see anywhere else. It advances at about 2 hours based on its current timing. I think it's giving us about an hour to 2 hours here. showing us that southeasterly movement. However, what will probably happen if it maintains the severity of the rotation is this may begin to bend down toward the Roanoke Valley area in the Fincastle by 4 to 4:30. So you are, I'm giving you an early heads up. This cell has a lot of rotation near I-64 in Lewisburg, and it's going to cross into parts of Virginia, mainly Craig and Allegheny counties, but maybe soon after that, Botetourt into Roanoke counties. Want to watch out for that very carefully. Also, these cells upstream may have warnings with them very shortly in terms of tornadic activity. They've got a couple of special weather statements for heavy rain and gusty winds. That'll be nearing the New River Valley area, one leading cell near Pulaski by 4:30. More activity could cause some flash flooding from Hinton to Union and the Beckley, and then that line here from Mullins to Grundy to Richlands also moving in by 4:30. This is going to update every 5 minutes, so we'll continue to look at that as new information begins to come in. This is the ThreatNet button, and it shows us the most severe part of the storm. So it's picking up on half-inch to 1-inch hail here near the Lewisburg, West Virginia area. There's the interstate, and rainfall rates of about 2 inches per hour. Some of these rainfall rates will be up around 5 inches an hour. We've also got a little indication of hail, at least at the radar beam height, farther upstream. And it's the fact that these upstream storms are following the same path that we could be seeing some flash flooding in here as well. You can't see it right now, but I've got one Doppler cat very interested in what I'm showing you. I mentioned the flash flooding potential here, right here, south of Lewisburg. That's on West Virginia 12 and onto Blue Sulphur Springs Turnpike, Kitchen Creek could be flooding. That's what you're seeing there in the darker green. So we've got a live ability to show you which areas could be flooded and which areas are just slippery out there as well. But let's go to the immediate concern is the damaging wind. And this could be both tornadic wind and straight line wind, but you're seeing it right there just south of Lewisburg. Some of the moderate damaging wind potential is right along the interstate, but the really high stuff there in the Burgundy there is headed on Red and Blue Sulphur Springs Turnpike, also West Virginia 12, and we've got one of the Weather Service markers there showing us it goes just to the south of Ron Curvet and just to the north of Union, although it may end up hitting Union if it holds together. And you do see that Roanoke is listed as a time of arrival. That is assuming it holds together by 4:25. I was just mentioning that we'd have to watch that Roanoke Valley area if this continues kind of dropping farther to the south and to the east. So let's put a few more locations on here and go through each little city here. The tornado warning continues in effect for another 24 minutes. My technology is giving this a 1.25-inch diameter hail, 100% chance of hail. The storm tops up about 33,400 feet, and we're looking at still a tornadic index out of 10. It's at about a 3. Hollywood, Keenan, Gap Mills at 319, Laurel Branch, Paint Bank at 329, and the Craig County. It's going to continue on that path there. And again, if it maintains, and it looks like it has a chance of doing that, if not, it'll redevelop. It could be crossing into the Roanoke Valley area. So something to keep very close eye on. You need to get in the center part of your house if you're in this area. Let's read the actual warning for you here. It's for Greenbrier, Summers, and Monroe County. Tornado warning remains in effect until 3. We had this tornado over Asbury near Alderson, moving southeast at 30. Tornado in quarter-sized tail. This is on the radar, which we just saw on our ThreatNet radar. It's pretty pretty distinct. We'll look at debris signature in a minute. But flying debris could be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes damaged or destroyed. You're better off in the ditch, to be honest with you. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. Do not wait to see this thing. It may be wrapped in rain. Don't go out with your cell phone and look for it and try to record it. Just get into a shelter right now, especially in the Lewisburg, West Virginia area to Union. You don't have a lot of sky to look at because of all the mountains. So I know the topography down here is difficult anyway. Just trust me, bro. Take shelter right now. Studies show that maybe 1 or 2 minutes makes all the difference. If you don't have a basement, the center part of your house, a hallway with all the doors closed, all the bedroom doors closed will do the trick. If you don't have that, you can also get in the bathroom. The plumbing in the walls help hold up the walls uh, of that home. But basically, what you want to do is put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So get in the center part of your house and crouch down. A lot of people get in bathtubs. That's cool. Use a helmet or some pillows at least, or a comforter, a mattress to cover yourself up in the bathtub. A hallway closet's always a good idea. Another layer of walls there. And under a workbench or a table will do the trick for flying debris. Don't bother opening those windows. That's an old myth, and it wastes time. The storm's going to break its windows on its own. So it continues to look pretty impressive here on our damaging wind product. Let's go to the actual radar. All right. And if you'll bear with me, I'll get some markings here so we can look at this together, okay? So this is off the Blacksburg radar there. Greenbrier County, this is Monroe County, this is Union. That's the polygon. Includes Lewisburg, but the hook is right near Alderson. That's where we have the 1-inch hail as well. Alderson, West Virginia. Looking for debris. We do see some debris possibly picked up here, but it's hard to tell. That could just be the inflow notch with the possible tornado. I'm going to put a marker where I think there might be the tornado. We're going to compare that with the wind, and the shear is there, but really most of the shear is a little bit farther north of where I'm looking. It could be occluding and developing farther south, so it's an elongated area of rotation. I'm moving my marker upstream just a little bit, and I'm going to look at different layers here of this storm. We've got a lot of wind just off the ground. You can see those brighter greens showing about 60-mile-per-hour winds as you move up to about 10,000 feet. Closer to the ground, it's not as pronounced, but the rotation is there, and that's the rotating area right there. Again, through Alderson into Lewisburg and Asbury. Let's see if I can get this a little better. I'm not used to using these background maps here. I'll zoom that back out. That's a fair amount of rotation. With these green areas are areas of spin the other way. So there's an elongated area of rotation just nearing the Alderson area and to West Virginia, and there you see it updating. Your velocity couplet is still there. It's not the biggest couplet I've ever seen, but it's there. And now I'm starting to see debris in the area. So this could be the real deal. I'm looking at a correlation coefficient drop. I'm looking at a ZDR arc. This is basically where the upper level winds are blowing in up over the inflow of this thing. Let's get rid of this time here from Barron. That's a sign that the storm is indeed turning. This is the updraft. Right there could be the mesocyclone associated with the tornado there north of Alderson, where you see those reds. Those are bigger, wider drops or potentially debris, but mainly just drops of super cooled water that's being pushed up at about 10,000 feet up. hail is involved in this. We also see probably debris now showing up. Yeah, this is probably debris in gray. What you're seeing here is how much the radar beam's bending, and I show that because this is a concentration of how much liquid is being squeezed into the air. Obviously, with a tornado right near that, you've got little droplets coming together that really ramps these values up. And also with melting hail, you get these oranges and these higher colors as well. Also, a lot of very heavy rain. That correlates with a storm top. Everything's matching up, unfortunately, folks. This is serious, getting up to about 50,000 feet and a debris drop as well. That could be, it could just be hail. I'm showing you the hail productable density anyway, and there's a lot of hail showing up because we've got a lot of dry air. It's evaporating everything in here as well. Spectrum width is also an ignored product. You don't see that on a lot of outlets, but I like to use it. This shows us where the air is relatively stable in terms of how much the wind varies with each little dot that you see, each little square. Where you see these brighter colors, that's where the wind is ranging a lot between high wind and hardly any wind. And obviously, if you've got a tornado spinning in there, it's going to make that really kind of loud and stand out. Now, where it's rained and where it's really cool, where you've got that hail falling, that cool air is like syrup. It doesn't like to move a lot, so you get these gray areas. So when I'm looking for tornadic activity, I'm not only looking at the velocity, the reds and the greens, but I'm also looking to see if that coincides with these heightened areas on the spectrum width and also with the hook or a hook echo separate from the actual main part of the storm. And we do have that still around the Alderson area. There's not a lot of movement with this thing. Let's see the update from the National Weather Service here. Remains in effect until 3 o'clock. What is it, 2:49? So I haven't got an update there. Just to show you that we've got a lot of rotation. Let's see if we can look 3D at this. This is the reflectivity of that storm, and you can see it nearing Lewisburg. It towers up to about 60,000 feet. And I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but right there in the red, that is a pronounced bounded weak ecoregion. So we could be seeing the wall cloud right here at the bottom. That's the wall cloud. This is the front flank downdraft, the rear flank downdraft just off the screen here. And this is the what's causing that ZDR arc that we're seeing. If we look at just the rotation and look at that in 3D, I don't know if I can do that or not. Yeah, I can. There we go. This is depending on exactly which radar, the timing of each radar beam hitting this, but we've got a pretty well-defined signature there of a possible tornado, at least a mesocyclone. And pretty high. We're starting to see some green now showing up. That's on the rotation signature there. So it's a little confusing. We're looking, let's see, this is looking south at Lewisburg. We're now moving to the west. That's because we can see the storm a bit better. You can see if there is a tornado, it's just near the Alderson, West Virginia area. And that updraft coming in like that is bending the hail and the rain around the twisting motion. It's actually a combination of the upward motion and the downward motion, both at the front right here and on the rear part of this mesocyclone, the supercell storm. This is stuff that they see in the Midwest. And now we're getting a new image in, continuing to show that bounded region there. The radar's not going to get this perfectly, so let's go back to our ordinary radar here and see what we got. We'll put this in motion. You can see it hooking. Definitely see it hooking. And I'm going to manually track something here. We're going to put a marker there. And we'll track it down through here. And we're going to look at the... All right, yeah, this really stands out. There actually are 3 areas, boom, 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 of rotation there. You see the orange right next to the green. This is taking out the storm motion. That's concerning. So we've got several areas that could be kind of occluding. There's the one major area that prompted the warning. If I continue to go back in time, you'll see the warning disappear. It held on pretty good. It's still holding on. So there it is there. This is going back to 228. Now we're jumping forward. Very pronounced couplet right there near Clintonville, Asbury, Lewisburg. That was at 228. The warning came out seconds later. You can still see the notch there. And I've got scanners turned on in this area. Stand by. I'm going to see if I'm getting any damage reports out of West Virginia. We may have a tornado in West Virginia. I'm listening in. Sometimes you catch stuff. Reports will show up in real time as well. Craig County, you're going to be next in this. We got the yellow warning. That's the severe thunderstorm warning. But there may be a tornado warning very soon for Craig County as well as Allegheny County, south of Covington. This is moving toward the Waiteville, Abbott, Newcastle area. Other storms, the one approaching Tazewell County also has a pretty good rotation around Squire, nearing the tip-top Tazewell and Burke's Garden area. There's the severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 3:45. Bland, Tazewell, Burke's Garden, Bastion, and Monot. I can't get all these names perfect, but tornadic potential here. You've got a little rotation there north of Squire and south of War in West Virginia. But the big concern right now is this Lewisburg, Mercer, and Greenbrier counties. I'm sorry, Monroe, Summers, and Greenbrier County. This is going from the Charleston radar, showing you a few more of these locations impacted. Hoax Mill, Baton, Nichols Mill, Monitor, Pickaway, near Hoax Mountain and Second Creek, Door, Hollywood in the warning here. Also, Union at the bottom of this, Keenan and the Gates. We've also got a flash flood warning, or a potential for flash flooding. There you see in that green line south of there. So we're going to have some flash flooding probably as well. Now, since we're looking at Charleston, green is toward the radar up here now because Charleston's up here. We're still looking at that circulation there right on the county line. Alderson to Hoax Mill near Oregon Cave, Second Creek. A lot of lightning there as well. Coming close to Ron Carrot. Switch back to Blacksburg since this is pretty close to the Floyd County radar. Also got a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for Highland County into southwest Augusta County from this cell that's coming out of Pocahontas County in West Virginia. That one's rotating. Also in Bath County, no warning or statement yet, but there's some broad rotation around the Marlington area. We'll turn the scanners down for the time being. Trying to do a lot of things in real time can get quite confusing. I understand that. So in motion, watch this cell as it comes out of West Virginia. Notice how it's moving southeast. It gets the hook, and then it starts to drop south. That's what happens. They'll move to the right of wherever they were moving. That's a sign it's fetching in. It's got some good inflow going into it. So we're going to go back over to our ThreatNet and use our technology to show you when this is going to near Roanoke because it's still on the way. You can actually see the rotation in the clouds. You can see the shear. You can see the low level clouds coming in out of the southwest and the upper level clouds blowing from northwest to southeast. That's wild. Making sure I'm getting my warnings here because I don't know if I am or not on this particular program. We'll close that and open that up in just a second here. Looks like our tornado warning was allowed to go away. That's good news. We still do have a 94% chance of lightning going for the next 60 minutes for this area, Union, where a severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect. For the whole area between Rupert, Rainelle, and White Sulphur Springs. There's also a 47% chance of lightning entering the Bath County area and a 95% chance of a lot of lightning grouping together here, Tazewell to Springville. Look at our wind shear over the past hour. You can see we had a lot of wind shear there around Alderson on 63. From Rainelle to Rupert, moved right across the interstate. Potential tornado. Don't have any damage reports just yet, but there was also some elongated secondary rotation further back right on the interstate around Lewisburg, and that happens to be right where our front is. So that is not surprising at all. Also in the past 30 to 60 minutes, rotation ramping up around Moore. A lot of lightning there as well. We're also looking at hail potential. Just in the past hour, we've seen the possibility of hail there right along West Virginia 16, and also a lot more in the way of hail with the supercell there, about 1.6 inches at beam height anyway, near the Meadow River Wildlife Management Area between Rainelle and Rupert on 60, Alderson and the Highway 3 nearing the Union area. So large hail is also a danger with the system, and maybe some small hail there in northern Carroll County. Picking up on some cloudiness here on the composite product, but still several storms just now beginning to enter the area. Again, watching this one too around Greenbank into Monterey. It's in Highland County, Craigsville, Deerfield up 220 up in the Bath County. Even though it's mountainous up there, these things can ramp back up. And this one is still turning here in West Virginia. I don't want you to let your guard down there as well. Look at the flooding potential here, and we look at how much rain are we getting within a certain amount of time compared to what we can handle. When you get to 1 is where you flood. So near Atkins, you're looking at right at the top amount of rain we can get in a given time period. We're nearing that threshold at 0.9 to 0.8. So right here in this area, that's why we've got flash flood warnings and flood advisories in effect. There's also some higher water likely for Bland and Max Meadows. And with the supercell here, you're seeing now some saturated ground and too much water, about 0.7, about 70% of how much rain we can handle in a given amount of time. We'll be able to track that as it continues to move south. The actual severity of any flooding is about 1 every 15 years or 20 years. This goes to 200, 1 in 200 years. Earlier, when we had the wind damage, we had about a 70-year flood going on into Saltville and to Smith County there in the western Wythe County with that heavier thunderstorm that was in place. Got one patient. I don't know where that is, but I believe we've got a serious accident somewhere in Franklin County. All right. This is every stream and creek in the area. And as I animate that, you can see the effect of the rain and the runoff occurring. Notice the New River starting to see some higher water there as well. Depending on the water model you use, when you start to not even see the actual tributaries, when this starts to look kind of messy, is when you really know you're seeing kind of basically standing water on the grass. And again, it basically depends on what kind of formula you're using to compute that, but our really saturated ground there north of Atkins. 220 is being shut down, maybe. Serious accident there. Let's see if we can get some info on that while I'm streaming. I'm about to take a break. Let's see. Crews responding to an accident on 220 in Franklin County. Unconfirmed reports of someone that's not breathing from a car accident. Looks like lifeguard is being considered. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 220 may be shutting down at this time in Franklin County. Hasn't popped up yet on so probably not related to weather, but we do have a serious accident in Franklin County. 220, part of 220 could be shut down. Life-threatening injuries. one person potentially not breathing from that. Whatever's going on there. Praying for those folks. Franklin County in the clear right now, but again, we'll have to watch this cell, and as it moves out of West Virginia, moving into Newcastle, probably Roanoke County. Um, I'm going to show before I take the break. We're going to use Barron real quick. We've got a rare 70 mile per hour considerable damage threat here into Highland County. Just issued for Craigsville, Deerfield. That was that cell I was telling you about there. One patient will be airlifted out of Franklin County. There you see some of the arrival times from this particular cell that's coming in with some vicious wind, up to about 70 miles per hour. That's coming out of Highland County, south of Monterey, into Craigsville, 42 to Augusta Springs. Also a cell coming out of Marlington. It's moving east-southeast at 37 miles per hour. Chimney Run to McClung. And then dropping south closer into the Roanoke Valley area. Don't have a track there on that one with this particular software. But some newer cell development in Pulaski. Don't let these little cells make you think they're not all that big, because anything popping up, like this thing in Bedford, just popped up in the past few minutes. It's going to start to spin just because we've got the jet stream overhead. It's going to start to do a thing where it begins to tower up a little more and turn. So I'm going to be watching all of that very, very carefully. But mainly this I-64 storm. Our damaging wind threat is still relatively high. We've also got some damaging wind possible there into Tazewell County, another one there on I-77. And notice the arrow here on our threat net. Again, if this holds together, this is a tornadic supercell earlier that could be coming out of West Virginia through Craig County, western Roanoke County, maybe even into Franklin County. Let's go ahead and, just for the sake of being prepared here, by 5 o'clock or so, between 4:30 and 5, we need to watch Roanoke and the Rocky Mount between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. I'm going to leave that on the screen, actually. These brighter colors showing us moderate to strong damaging wind potential. Software looks at the wind, compares it to tornado warning now in Highland County, compares it to previous wind damage, and gives it a rating, basically, of potential wind damage. Southern Halifax County, tornado warning. We're going to use our future track. This does have one bias, and it could be too far north. So we have to kind of correct in our mind here. But if that cell coming out of West Virginia holds together by 4, it could be moving into Catawba, maybe even Botetourt County, but I'm going to say more like right through here, probably Salem, Roanoke, if it holds together by 4:45. You saw the arrow has it more toward Rocky Mount. This has it more into Bedford County. If the rotation weakens, it will move more into Bedford County. You've already got a storm right now, but the big spinning cell should affect either Bedford or Franklin County, and almost certainly in the Roanoke County here by around 4 o'clock or so. Look at the hail path through Lewisburg. (4927) Virgil H. Good Highway. Can I not get a map? Lifeguard on 220 is going to land. What did I say? 4827. That would be closer to the Boone's Mill, if that's right. Let's see if VDOT's got a update for us. Okay, I was wrong. Southern Franklin County. All southbound lanes are closed. It's a high priority incident near mile marker 29.9, vicinity of Blackwell Road, Crooked Oak Road. All north lanes are closed. All southbound lanes are closed between Fork Mountain and Rocky Mount. VDOT telling us that. Scanner traffic reveals that Lifeguard 10 is going to land on 220 soon. That's why traffic is blocked there just to the south of Sidnersville, north of Fork Mountain. And honestly, it sounds like one possible fatality. I'll leave it at that. So our storms continue marching on through. I wanted to show you the wind shear on the satellite. Now I've got my warnings up here. So this is the tornado warning that's in effect for Highland County, a very small tornado warning until 3:45. I'm going to loop this so you can actually see. You know, people say, Jamie, what are you talking about when you mention the rotational potential with these storms? What are you talking about when you're looking at wind shear? Well, I'm going to show you. Let's see. The yellow are coming out of the southwest. The yellow clouds, those are the lower clouds. The higher clouds in white, the billowing clouds, have some definition, some crispiness to them. Those are the clouds at about 40 to 50,000 feet. So you can see coming out of the southwest at the surface, aloft at the jet stream coming in out of the northwest. So there's about 90 degrees of rotation. And that is why we're seeing so many severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. Got a new special weather statement for the NRV. Also, a severe thunderstorm warning now for Wythe County. And that warning now that I mentioned is officially in Craig County, moving to the southeast at 22 miles per hour. We do have some rotation popping up out here on 460 in the Bland County, a 3.9 out of 10 on our critical weather indicator by ThreatNet of rotation and a possible tornado or developing tornado there in the Mountain Empire of Southwest Virginia. Other storms around Grundy also showing potential rotation. If this holds together, it could near Pulaski by 452. Storms have a history of frequent lightning. Hail up to about an inch in diameter and flooding, along with some wind damage. There you see 1, 2, 3, 4 cells in the pink, kind of highlighting the actual dangers here, separate from the actual rain. And our severe thunderstorm watch continues now for most areas through 8 o'clock this evening. Almost everybody in that threat. You can look at our rotational signature out of Blacksburg and see that spin just north of Tazewell. We've got about 60 mile per hour's worth of spin north of 460, dropping through closer to Wytheville, Rural Retreat by the time this warning ends. So that's going to put it at 345. It'll be nearing the Wytheville area if it holds together, or Rural Retreat. Now, Matt Hankins, if you're watching, heads up, this is spinning up upstream for you. It's on State Route 61. Storm's now blossoming. We broke out into the sunshine today. There's our damaging wind potential there. I know what I wanted to show you. Let's see. This isn't the prettiest looking map, but it's a great map to show just what we're dealing with. We've got low pressure near DC, Northern Virginia. We've got about 45 knots of wind shear to 50 knots of wind shear because of the jet stream. There it is, hatched in blue. This pink area is where the air is lifting because of the jet stream. Underneath the jet stream, we've got wind coming in out of the southwest right there. And on top of that, you've got a mid-level wave coming through. When we look at our composite, our violent tornado parameter is high, up around 3 to 4, up to about 6 in Tennessee. So just about the entire area looking at a threat there. The conditional threat of a tornado, EF0, this is something incredible. Normally we see around 5 or 10%. This is up around 27%, which is still relatively low. It's conditional, so you have to look at the chance of a tornado, multiply that by 27%. So it's more like 0.0125%, but still, relatively speaking, where are we seeing the values the highest? And even EF2 or greater at a 4% chance. Some of the higher tornado threats I've ever seen in this area, especially over the mountains. And we were thinking earlier it might be Eastern Virginia, but the bullseye, Southwest Virginia and the West Central Virginia, and again in Highland County, we've got a tornado warning still in effect. Storm fuel about 2,500 joules per kilogram. really in the next 4 hours, things will be quieting down, it looks like. But we still have to get that whole mess through here. Straight line wind threat is there as well. You see these big bold numbers here in the Burgundy and Marine, 1200 to 1400. That's a lot of straight line wind potential. Something went over the embankment, I think, with that accident. They're trying to figure out how to get that up in Franklin County. LCLs are low. That means the cloud bases are very, very low. It's easier to get a tornado in conditions like that. So our area under the gun here, and I'll likely have to restart it. Looks like a new tornado warning um, popping up. So I'm going to stop this stream. We're going to start another one, okay? New tornado warning out for Wythe County, Tazewell County, and the southwest Bland